Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadada, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are going to continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter 17. Does anyone remember what we read yesterday?
Hare Krishna. We were reading about how Lord Ananta was instructing Chitraketu Maharaj that one who is born in India can be easily self-realized and just study Vedas and follow it practically and apply it, follow Vedas and then apply it practically. And then also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also emphasized on the same that Bharat Bhumi te haila manushya janma yar. So like if self-realized person, and then Prabhupada also explained that if you become Krishna conscious, then don't stop there and give it back to others also. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also emphasized that if you are born in land of India, then it's very easy for you to get self-realized and become Krishna conscious. So this was emphasized. And then later also Ananta Shesh directly was telling Chitraketu Maharaj to give up the material desires, as that enjoyment is just temporary and comes with a lot of miseries. And so he's asking to engage in devotional service and be happy. And then he also said that one who desires happiness, that we are working for that. But that is, in this material world, there is only suffering and suffering and suffering. So rather engage in devotional service and change your desires. And then Ananta Shesh was also mentioning that we may do something and expect a particular result out of it and does not like it. But so Ananta Shesh is that become my devotee. Man mana mad bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So so just get free from all this. So engage in his devotional service. And giving all these instructions, Lord Ananta Shesh also said that living entities are my part and parcel. And he also said that get unattached to material enjoyment and get attached to me. And now you have that knowledge and apply it practically. He emphasized again and again on applying that knowledge practically. And here and then become my devotee and pray to Lord that if we have material desires and we can desire to engage in pure desires, like we can make our desires pure desires by engaging in devotional service, for asking for pure devotional service. So he emphasized a lot on that, and he instructed Chitraketu Maharaj. And then after that, Sukadev Goswami says that after instructing, he just disappeared. He's just vanished. And you and Shilpaji, you mentioned that Sankarshana is the Adi Guru. He's the original master. And he's called the Paramatma. And then we move on to the next chapter, where its name is the Mata Pārvatī Dwara Chitraketu ko Shap. Like Chitraketu ji was cursed by Mata Pārvatī. Then we did the review, and then the first shloka, we said that in the direction which Ananta Shesh disappeared, in that direction, Chitraketu Maharaj offered obeisances, and he also took a plane, and then on his plane he had this Charan Lokas Nivasi, Siddha Lokas Nivasi, and then for hundreds and thousands of years he was just enjoying. But let us not forget, Prabhupada explained, and he was just moving around in Sumeru Parvat valleys and with the other ladies. But then Prabhupada mentioned that we shouldn't forget that when he was doing all this, he was just singing the glories of Ananta Shesh, of Supreme Lord. He's a pure devotee, and he was just singing the glories of Krishna. And then modes made us blind, and we get into false ego, and we think that I did it. And that's the reason that we suffer here. So Chitraketuji is a great, great devotee, and he see that there may be reversals, but they are all temporary, and then Lord created this material world. He and Durga Devi is the in charge of that material world. And Chitraketuji is very, very tolerant. You mentioned few qualities of Chitraketu Maharaj, that how he's very tolerant, he's completely um, devoted to Krishna, and he's applying his practical knowledge. He's equal in sad and happiness. And then Prabhupada reminds us that Chitraketuji is having association of beautiful women, but he's a pure devotee, and he's always remembering Lord. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Because in spite of the association, what he was doing, he was just chanting the glories of the Lord.
Yeah.
He was anywhere he was going, as you mentioned, he's always chanting the glories of the Lord. So we're going to continue with 4 and 5. Thank you so much. Okay, ekada sa vimanena
Ekada sa vimanena
Vishnu datena bhasvata
Vishnu dattena bhasvata
Girisham dadrishe gachan
Girisham daddashre gachan
Paritam siddhacharane
Paritam siddhacharane
Aling Alinkyankir Kritam devim
Alingya angikritam devim
Bahuna muni samsade
Bahuna muni samsadi
Uvacha devya shinvantya
Uvacha devayah shrinvantya
Jahaso chestad antike.
Jahasa ucche tadantike.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One time, while King Chitraketu was traveling in outer space on a brilliantly effulgent airplane given to him by Lord Vishnu, he saw Lord Shiva surrounded by siddhas and charanas. Lord Shiva was sitting in an assembly of great saintly persons and embracing Pārvatī on his lap with his arm. Chitraketu laughed loudly and spoke within the hearing of Pārvatī. So Chitraketu, he has his private jet personally given to him by Lord Vishnu. Okay. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in this connection, Bhaktim Bhutim Hari Tattva Swaviche Danubhutaye Devya Shapena Vritatvam Nitva Tam Swantike Naya. The purport is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead wanted to bring Chitraketu to Vaikuntha Lok as soon as possible. The Lord's plan was that Chitraketu be cursed by Pārvatī to become Vritrasur, so that in his next life he could quickly return home back to Godhead. So yesterday Sneha had a question, and so now we can see the answer, that why it was arranged by the Lord, because he wanted Chitraketu to come back soon. Just one more life and he can come back to Godhead. There have been many instances in which a devotee acting as a demon has been brought to the kingdom of God by the mercy of the Lord. For Parvati to be embraced by Lord Shiva was natural in a relationship between husband and wife. This was nothing extraordinary for Chitraketu to see. Nonetheless, Chitraketu laughed loudly to see Lord Shiva in that situation, even though he should not have done so. Thus, he was eventually cursed. And this curse was the cause of his returning home back to Godhead. Yeah, so it makes it clear, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then going on to the next one. Chitraketuruvacha
Chitraketuruvacha
Esha Loka Guru Sakshad
Esha lokah guruhu sakshat
Dharmam Vakta Sharirinam
Dharmam vakta sharirinam
Aste Mukhya Sabhayam Vai
Asta mukhyah sabhayam vai
Mithuni Bhuya Bharyaya.
Mithuni bhurya bhayaya.
Chitraketu said, Lord Shiva, the spiritual master of the general populace, is the best of all living entities who have accepted material bodies. He enunciates the system of religion. Yet, how wonderful it is that he is embracing his wife Pārvatī in the midst of an assembly of great saintly persons. Jatadharastivratapa
जटाधरस्तीव्रतपः
Brahmavadi Sabhapatihi
ब्रह्मवादी सभापतिः
Ankikritya Striyam Chaste
अङ्गीकृत्यं स्त्रियं चास्ते
Gatari Prakrito Yatha.
गता हि प्राकृतो यथा.
Lord Shiva, whose hair is matted on his head, has certainly undergone great austerities and penances. Indeed, he is the president of the assembly of strict followers of Vedic principles. Nonetheless, he is seated with his wife on his lap in the midst of saintly persons and is embracing her as if he were a shameless, ordinary human being. Chitraketu appreciated the exalted position of Lord Shiva, and therefore he remarked at how wonderful it was that Lord Shiva was acting like an ordinary human being. He appreciated Lord Shiva's position because Lord Shiva is an exalted, great exalted Lord. He's the Lord of the material world. As Krishna is the Lord of the spiritual world, Lord Shiva is the Lord of the material world because he's the husband of Durga Devi, who's in charge of this uh, working of the material nature. Of course, everything is being done under the supervision of Krishna, but Krishna does not get personally involved. So he appreciated Lord Shiva's position, but when he saw Lord Shiva sitting in the midst of saintly person and acting like a shameless ordinary man, he was astonished. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks that although Chitraketu criticized Lord Shiva, he did not offend Lord Shiva like Daksha. Daksh considered Lord Shiva insignificant, but Chitraketu expressed his wonder at Lord Shiva's being situated in that way. So here Prabhupada is mentioning that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is bringing to light that what Daksha did is that he offended Lord Shiva. He called him ill names. He wrongly, he had put wrong accusations, wrongly accused him. Also, he was not able to understand Lord Shiva's most exalted position. But here, Chitraketu is able to, he understands Lord Shiva's position. So there is a difference that he did not offend Lord Shiva, whereas Daksh had offended Lord Shiva. Prayasha prakritaschapi
प्रायस्त प्राकृते चाप्य
striyam rahasi bibrati
स्त्रियं रहस्य विभ्रति
ayam mahavrita dharo
अहं महावृतयाधरो
bibharti sadasi striyam.
बिभर्ति सदसि स्त्रियम्.
Ordinary conditioned persons generally embrace their wives and enjoy their company in solitary places. How wonderful it is that Lord Mahadev, although a great master of austerity, is embracing his wife openly in the midst of an assembly of great saints. The word Mahavritadhara indicates a brahmachari who has never fallen down. Lord Shiva is counted among the best of yogis, yet he embraced his wife in the midst of great saintly persons. Chitraketu appreciated how great Lord Shiva was to be unaffected even in that situation. Therefore, Chitraketu was not an offender. He merely expressed his wonder. So Chitraketu is wondering that, oh, how Lord Shiva is behaving like an ordinary person when that's what he's thinking, that Lord Shiva, by embracing Parvati, is acting like an ordinary person. So he's just got in this kind of like a doubt, maybe. or he's making this comment, but he understands completely Lord Shiva's position. Shishuka Vacha
Srishuka Uvacha
Bhagavan api tachrutva
Bhagavan api tach srutva
prahasya gadadhe nripa
prahasya agagadhi nripa
tushnim babhuva sadase
tushnim babubha sadasi
sabhyascha tad anuvrita.
sabhyascha tat anuvrataha.
Srila Sukadev Goswami continued, My dear king, after hearing Chitraketu's statement, Lord Shiva, the most powerful personality, whose knowledge is fathomless, simply smiled and remained silent. And all the members of the assembly followed the Lord by not saying anything. Chitraketu's purpose in criticizing Lord Shiva is somewhat mysterious and cannot be understood by a common man. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, however, has made the following observations. Lord Shiva, being the most exalted Vaishnava and one of the most powerful demigods, is able to do anything he desires. Although he was externally exhibiting the behavior of a common man and not following etiquette, such actions cannot diminish his exalted position. The difficulty is that a common man, seeing Lord Shiva's behavior, might follow his example. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3:21, Yad Yad Acharati Shreshtas Tattad Eve Tarojana Sayad Pramanam Kurute Lokastad Anuvartate. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standard he sets by exemplary acts all the world pursues. A common man might also criticize Lord Shiva like Daksh, who suffered the consequences for his criticism. King Chitraketu desired that Lord Shiva sees this external behavior so that others might be saved from criticizing him and thus becoming offenders. If one thinks that Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the only perfect personality, whereas the demigods, even such demigods as Lord Shiva, are inclined to improper social affairs, he is an offender. Considering all this, King Chitraketu was somewhat harsh in his behavior with Lord Shiva. So here, Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport uh, the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that, for common people like us, we are not able to understand, why Chitraketu had to be, why he had to criticize Lord Shiva. What happened? He's a pure devotee of the Lord. So in the earlier purport, we heard that it is Lord's desire so that Chitraketu can quickly get cursed and quickly can come back home, back to Godhead. And here we are hearing another point that um, just as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what great people do, common men follow it. So then, what might happen is common people might imitate Lord Shiva or they might criticize him, just as Daksha criticized. They might offend Lord Shiva. And by offending Lord Shiva, then it's going to be bad for them, you know. So to avoid this, to avoid common people like us to offend Lord Shiva, Chitraketu is telling him, hey, how come you're doing this, So Lord Shiva, who is always deep in knowledge, could understand Chitraketu's purpose, and therefore he was not at all angry. Rather, he simply smiled and remained silent. The members of the assembly surrounding Lord Shiva could also understand Chitraketu's purpose. Consequently, following the behavior of Lord Shiva, they did not protest. Instead, following their master, they remained silent. If the members of the assembly thought that Chitraketu had blasphemed Lord Shiva, they would certainly have left at once, blocking their ears with their hands. So here the intention, Prabhupada is clarifying us the intention of Chitraketu. And that's the reason Lord Shiva is just merely smiling, because Lord Shiva understands Chitraketu's intention. And the great personality sitting with Lord Shiva also understands Chitraketu does not have any bad intention. He does not have an intention to condemn or criticize Lord Shiva. It is just that he's thinking that the common man might offend Lord Shiva. So, understanding this purpose, Lord Shiva and the others just smiled. Is that okay? Hmm. Okay. So then going on.
Krishna, Shilpaji, so Chitraketu Maharaj is thinking, right? That
What?
because the others might offend seeing
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah. Yes. That's
Okay.
right. So
Mm,
that's why he is saying it. Otherwise, he does not have any intention to, condemn Lord Shiva.
mm,
That's not his intention.
mm,
Yeah. He does not have any envy in his heart for Lord Shiva.
mm,
Sometimes we may say harsh words to another because out of envy or anger or pride, like how Daksh was saying all the
mm.
things, because there was so much of these bad emotions in the heart. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, iti atat virya vidushi
Iti atat virya vidushi
bruvane bahav ashobhanam
bruvane bhram ashobhanam
roshaha devi drishtaya
rushaya devi drishtaya
nirjitatma bhimanine.
nirjit atma abhimanine.
Not knowing the prowess of Lord Shiva and Pārvatī, Chitraketu strongly criticized them. His statements were not at all pleasing, and therefore the goddess Pārvatī, being very angry, spoke as follows to Chitraketu, who thought himself better than Lord Shiva in controlling the senses. Although Chitraketu never meant to insult Lord Shiva, he should not have criticized the Lord, even though the Lord was transgressing social customs. It is said, Teji Yasam na doshaya. One who is very powerful should be understood to be faultless. For example, one should not find faults with the sun, although it evaporates urine from the street. So Prabhupada is saying, one cannot say, oh, the sun has become impure because it is evaporating the urine. The sun has touched the urine, so now the sun is impure. We can't say such things. It's illogical to even say such a thing. In fact, the sun purifies. So Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that we may not understand sometimes what a great personality is doing. This is Lord Shiva after all. So Chitraketu, Prabhupada is saying that he did not want to insult Lord Shiva. He did not have any malice in his heart, but yet he should not have criticized, because great personalities, they do certain things which we may not be able to understand. So the most powerful cannot be criticized by any ordinary man or even by a great personality. Chitraketu should have known that Lord Shiva, although sitting in that way, was not to be criticized. The difficulty was that Chitraketu, having become a great devotee of Lord Vishnu Sankarshan, was somewhat proud at having achieved Lord Sankarshan's favor, and therefore thought he could now criticize anyone, even Lord Shiva. This kind of pride in a devotee is never tolerated. So Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that Chitraketu, because he personally met Lord Sankarshan personally spoke to him, has given him Lord Vishnu has given him a plane also. So he kind of has gotten maybe a slight pride in his heart. That I'm I'm a devotee. That I'm a devotee. He's actually a great devotee, but he got proud that he's gotten the favor of Lord Vishnu. So in that way, he felt, okay, that I am in a position to criticize Lord Shiva, because otherwise ordinary people are not supposed to criticize great personalities because we don't understand their actions. A Vaishnav should always remain very humble and meek and offer respect to others. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So Prabhupada is quoting Trinadapi Sunichena. Vaishnav, more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, always giving respect to others, never expecting anything in return, never expecting any respect in return. And Lord Chaitanya says that in this state, one can constantly chant the holy name. One can constantly remember Krishna. This is the position. This is how one can actually be able to constantly chant Krishna, the holy name of Krishna, by becoming Trinadapi Sunichena. So then, how can we come to that position? We need to chant more to be able to come to this position of Trinadapi Sunichena. We can't artificially, uh, you know, because we may not know what it is to be truly humble. But the more we chant, associate with devotees, serve the devotees, the more we will be able to imbibe these qualities. So a Vaishnav should not try to minimize anyone else's position. It is better to remain humble and meek and chant the Hare Krishna mantra. The word Nirjitatma Bhimanine indicates that Chitraketu thought himself a better controller of the senses than Lord Shiva, although actually he was not. Because of all these considerations, Mother Parvati was somewhat angry at Chitraketu. So we are seeing now another light. Earlier we heard that, oh, it was Chitraketu's intention that others should not offend Lord Shiva. But there is also another aspect. Whenever we do, there may be multiple aspects, multiple things. And because of that, we may say something or do something. So here also we are understanding different aspects. The Lord wanted him to come back soon. Then he wanted the uh, common man not to criticize Lord Shiva. Then another aspect is he's thinking he's better at controlling his senses than Lord Shiva. So there's some pride there because he's personally gotten the favor of the Lord. Is that okay?
No. So Chitraketuji is thinking all this, right?
What he's thinking?
So like he's thinking that he's better than controlling his senses,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. That's what we just heard. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Wow.
great.
Like how this is, so wondrous that how, yes, it's true that sometimes how we start thinking when things fall into position, we get more opportunity, then how we start thinking that, oh, wow, God is favoring me and I'm such a, this is so
I'm
normal.
so special,
Yes, yes, yes.
right? I know, right? We get carried
Yes.
away.
We get carried away, yes.
Yeah. So we are hearing so many lessons, so many different things with one pastime. There's so many different things that we can learn. Shri Pārvatī Vacha,
Shri Pārvatī Uvacha,
Ayam Kim Adhuna Loke,
Ayam Kim Adhuna Loke,
Shasta Danda Dhara Prabhu,
Shasta Dandadhara Prabhu,
Asmat Vidhanam Dushtanam,
अस्मत् विद्यानां दुष्टानां
Nirlajanam cha viprakrit.
निर्जलानां च विप्रकृत.
The goddess Pārvatī said, Alas, has this upstart now received a post from which to punish shameless persons like us? Has he been appointed ruler, carrier of the rod of punishment? Is he now the only master of everything? So she's really gotten irritated now. Like, who do you think you are, Upstart, upstart, like you're just a new devotee. So, Naveda Dharmam Kilapad Mayonir
न वेद धर्मं किल पद्मयोनि
Na Brahmaputra Pregunāradādya
न ब्रह्मपुत्रा भृगुनारदादः
Na Vai Kumara Kapilo Manuscha
न वे कुमारः कपिलो मनुश्च
Yeno Nishedanti Ativartinam Haram.
येनो निषेदन्ति अतिवर्तिनं हरम्.
Alas, Lord Brahma, who has taken his birth from the lotus flower, does not know the principles of religion, nor do the great saints like Brigu and Narad, nor the four Kumaras headed by Sanat Kumar. Manu and Kapila have also forgotten the religious principles. I suppose it to be because of this that they have not tried to stop Lord Shiva from behaving improperly. So now she's so upset. She's like, oh, so all these great personalities, nobody knows anything. Only you know that these great personalities are not telling anything to Lord Shiva, but only you know. You can see how upset she's gotten now.
Yeah.
Like we also do that, right? Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You think I don't know. You think these other people who we are associating with, they wouldn't have told us something. So, Isham Anudhyeya Padam Jayukmam
येषाम् अनुध्येन पदाम्बुजयुग्मम्
Jagad Guru Mangala Mangalam Swayam
जगद्गुरुं मङ्गलमङ्गलं स्वयम्.
Yashatra Bandhu Paribhuya Surin
यशत्रबन्धुः परिभूय सूरीन्
Prashasti Drishtas Hidandaya.
प्रशास्ति दृष्टा ततयं हि दण्डयः.
This Chitraketu is the lowest of Kshatriyas, for he has impudently overridden Brahma and the other demigods by insulting Lord Shiva, upon whose lotus feet they always meditate. Lord Shiva is personified religion and the spiritual master of the entire world, and therefore Chitraketu must be punished. All the members of the assembly were exalted Brahmanas and self realized souls. But they did not say anything about the conduct of Lord Shiva, who was embracing the goddess Pārvatī on his lap. Chitraketu nonetheless criticized Lord Shiva, and therefore the opinion of Pārvatī was that he should be punished. So she's also saying, oh, by offending Lord Shiva, he is also offending Lord Brahma and the other demigods, because they are always looking up to Lord Shiva, Lord Shiva's exalted personality, always worshipping Lord, whose lotus feet they always meditate. So, spiritual master of the entire world, personified religion. So she's like, okay, now he has to be punished. Nayam narhati vaikuntha
नायम् अर्हति वैकुण्ठः
padamulopasarpanam
पादमूल उपसर्पणम्
sambhavita mati stabdaha
सम्भावितः मतिस्तब्धः
Sadhu paryupasitam.
Sadhubiha paryupasitam.
This person is puffed up because of his achievements, thinking, I am the best. He does not deserve to approach the shelter of Lord Vishnu's lotus feet, which are worshipped by all saintly persons. For he is impudent, thinking himself greatly important. If a devotee thinks that he is very much advanced in devotional service, he is considered puffed up and unfit to sit beneath the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. So here Parvati Devi, she's saying, oh, he's become prideful. He's become prideful. He's thinking now, oh, I'm the best, I'm the best. So again, this instruction by Lord Chaitanya is applicable. Pranadapi sunichena tarorapi sahisnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Unless one is humble and meek, one cannot qualify to sit at the lotus feet of the Lord. So the Lord does not like pride in his devotees. He does not like his devotees to become prideful. Uh, so it also is said, right? What the Bible says that the gates of heaven are open to those who are humble and meek, something like that. So anyway, the Lord he wants his devotees to come to the natural because that is our position, you know, that is the position of the soul. So he wants us to be on that platform.
But Shilpa ji, I'm just wondering, just one question that, like, yes, this happens. So, like, is it possible that, you get so much pride?
But maybe not so much, maybe a little.
Mm. Okay.
Hmm. Maybe it's not so much, but there is a tinge of it there,
Mm.
But whereas the Lord wants his devotees to be completely prideless, completely on the platform of Trinadapi Sunijena. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ata papi yasimyonim
Atah papi asimyonim
asurim yahidurmate
asurim yahi durmate
yateha bhuyo mahatam
yatha hi bhuyo mahatam
na karta putra kilbisham.
na karta putra kilbisham.
Also, the Lord knows that when one is completely situated in that position, that the heart can be completely happy, completely satisfied. That why even like a little slight thing should be missing, right? Okay. O impudent one, my dear son, now take birth in a low sinful family of demons, so that you will not commit such an offense again to an exalted saintly person in this world. One should be very careful not to commit offenses at the lotus feet of Vaishnavas, of whom Lord Shiva is the best. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the best of the Vaishnavas. While instructing Srila Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnav as Hatimata, a mad elephant. When a mad elephant enters a nice garden, what does it do? It spoils the entire garden. Similarly, if one becomes like a mad elephant and commits offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, his entire spiritual career is halted. One should therefore be very careful not to commit offenses at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. So, Prabhupada is mentioning the Hatimata, the offense of blaspheming a Vaishnava. Lord Chaitanya stressed this, and it's the first offense to the holy name. The holy name takes this offense personally, offending the devotee. Mother Pārvatī was justified in punishing Chitraketu, for Chitraketu impudently criticized the Supreme Father, Mahadev, who is the father of the living entities conditioned within this material world. The goddess Durga is called Mother, and Lord Shiva is called Father. A pure Vaishnav should be very careful to engage in his specific duty without criticizing others. This is the safest position. Otherwise, if one tends to criticize others, he may commit the great offense of criticizing a Vaishnava. So Prabhupada is giving us a practical tip of how to avoid this offense. He's saying everyone should be just busy minding their own business. Engage in his specific duty. We should consider, oh, how I can do my duty better. What can I do? What can I do better? How can I improve? So do you all want to? There's two more. I don't know if you all want to stop here or you want to finish it.
If you have time, we can finish it. If
Okay.
no, like up to you.
Yeah. Okay, we'll finish it then.
Yeah.
Because Chitraketu was undoubtedly a Vaishnava, he might have been surprised that Parvati had cursed him. Therefore, the goddess Parvati addressed him as Putra or son. Everyone is the son of Mother Durga, but she's not an ordinary mother. As soon as there is a small discrepancy in a demon's behavior, Mother Durga immediately punishes the demon so that he may come to his senses. So Mother Durga, Mother Nature, we say, right? Mother Nature, Mother Durga. She is the mother, but we have seen also, like how in the story of Bharat Maharaj, the demons, they were gonna kill Bharat Maharaj. So Mother Durga got angry. She in fact killed the demons. So mother usually won't do that, but she's very special. She also kills. So this is explained by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Devi yesha gunamaya mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. To surrender to Krishna means to surrender to his devotees also. For no one can be a proper servant of Krishna unless he's a proper servant of a devotee. So, dasanudasanudas, as Lord Chaitanya says, no? Gopi Bharatur Padakamalaya, Das, dasanudasanudas. Servant of the servant of the servant of Lord Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. Chadiya Vaishnav Seva Nistar Payeche Keva. Without serving a servant of Krishna, one cannot be elevated to being a servant of Krishna himself. So serving the devotees. Therefore, Mother Parvati spoke to Chitraketu exactly like a mother who says to her naughty child, my dear child, I'm punishing you so that you won't do anything like this again. This tendency of a mother to punish her child is found even in Mother Yashoda, who became the mother of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mother Yashoda punished Krishna by binding him and showing him a stick. Thus, it is the duty of a mother to chastise her beloved son, even in the case of the Supreme Lord. It is to be understood that Mother Durga was justified in punishing Chitraketu. This punishment was a boon to Chitraketu because after taking birth as the demon Vritrasur, he was promoted directly to Vaikuntha. So we can see that even the curse of a devotee is actually so beneficial. Anyone remember any other instance? A devotee cursed, but it was for the benefit of those who he cursed.
Even what we read previously in our stories, like how who was he? He was cursed.
Just here we have a hint. It's a coming in together with this pastime. Mother Yashoda binding Krishna. And then what happens?
The Nal and Kuber,
That's
Manigri
right.
and Nal Kuber, they were cursed
Yeah.
by Narad Muni,
Yeah.
and that was for their good.
Yeah. So we can see the curse of the devotee is good because the devotee never means any harm for anyone, never has any, does not have that envy, but in fact always wants one to get quickly connected to Lord Krishna. Here he's getting cursed by Durga, Mother Durga, and just one more birth and he can go back home, back to Godhead. Comments?
Wow. This is like how the reversals are in your favor. This shows that sometimes we might think that, oh, this is not the right thing for me, but then that is the right thing for you.
Yeah. Yeah. This is good for me. Krishna knows what he's doing.
Yes. And like Chitraketu Maharaj had that confidence. That was
Yeah.
only the reason, because he, like as we read previously, that he himself gave the knowledge later, right?
Yeah,
He'll
that's
give.
right.
He read in
Yeah,
the
now.
summary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Coming up.
Yeah. So that means that he is a devotee, but it just happens because, as we read, that Krishna also wanted him quickly to come back, not to, because we might waste, we might get fall like Jad Bharat Maharaj, we might fall down again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, it's true.
We might get
We get
attached to something
distracted.
else, and
Yeah, we may get distracted for some
we may
time. Yeah,
yes, and then we might fall down, and then again it will be long. So if Krishna, if because maybe he had Krishna's special mercy, so Krishna arranged all this so he comes quickly, not
yeah,
to waste any more time.
yeah, that's what we read. Yeah. Also, we heard that Krishna has mercy to bring him quickly, also to rid himself. Maybe there's some pride there, a tinge of pride is
Mm,
there.
mm,
Quickly
mm,
take that away,
mm.
so many things at one time.
Yeah. So Shilpa ji, reading this, that we understand that definitely we cannot go back until all our anarthas are washed away, right? Until all is cleaned away, right?
That's right.
So sometimes when we experience like this, like how Chitraketu Maharaj experienced pride, so that means that there was somewhere within him and it need to be cleaned, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Hmm. But then again, the question comes that he saw Lord. But that was a true pride, right? That he, oh, I'm such a great devotee. Is it like that?
But then what happened is somehow he got that, oh, I'm a great devotee, so I can criticize another. I can
Mm-hmm.
criticize Lord Shiva. I mean,
And that's a Vaishnava Aparad. Okay.
mm. So some subtle, not a gross, some very
Hmm.
subtle,
Hmm.
but also we have to understand all this. This is happening by the arrangement of the Lord also. So we
Yes.
can understand so many things. We can hear
Hmm.
so many things.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
As you said, Bharat Maharaj, we learned that don't get distracted. Here we are
Hmm.
learning, don't get prideful. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get distracted. Don't be prideful. Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
so many different things that we can learn.
Because the pride is the most easiest one. That is the last spear of Maya. That, oh, I'm such a great devotee.
It's not last there of Maya, I'm God.
Yes. Yes. I'm such a great devotee because Shilpaji, this is very human that it comes. If we just do something nicely for Krishna, then that comes that, oh my God, I'm so Krishna loves me so much, and oh, I'm so nice.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
Yeah.
true. It comes in us. Then what we can do is then, after feeling that, then we can thank Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me this ability to do whatever
Mm.
I
Mm.
could do nicely.
Mm.
But we forget that. But we can try to remember.
Yes, yes, yes. This is a good thing that we can thank him. That Krishna, thank you
Yeah,
for
can
letting me
remember.
serve you. Yes.
Yeah,
Lord. Thank you. This is so, so wonderful. Oh my God.
I know, right?
Mm.
So we can see how Krishna. So I see like Chitraketu as being an instrument in the hands of Krishna, As Krishna is
Mm.
telling Arjuna, you be an instrument in my hand. So at least that's my take on it, that he's being an
Mm.
instrument in the hands of Krishna. And so that we can learn also so many things. Okay, so we'll stop here for today. Srimad
Yeah.
Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you so much for listening.